Good morning. Our hand today is going to be pocket queens. We are under the gun, open raise. I think that's pretty standard raise for an early position player. Note change of some of these small suited connectors. We get called in one spot, so he's playing 14-9. I assume he's going to be pretty tight. We look at his stats. Pre-flop, he hasn't called from the big blinds yet. Called 2-bets, totals 3 out of 26. He's done that middle position, did it twice in the middle position, once on the button. His VPIP is looking like he's more tight. Could be aggressive. Does seem like he comes in for some pre-flop raises. Does 3-bet occasionally, 1 out of 26. I think 3-bets like queens plus, ace king, maybe ace queen, maybe down to jacks and tens. But it's out of 71 hands. And if we look at his stats, I actually have a lot more information. So I think this is a player that I've played with, maybe played with quite a bit towards the end of last year, or maybe let's say October, November, and he's falling out of that 12-week time period that this HUD stat captures. So I've got called 2-bet from blinds range. All of these hands, pocket pairs, 4s, 8s, 10s. If you got suited ace, like ace 9, you've got king 4 suited, queen 2 suited, 9 7 suited, 7 6 suited, ace queen, king 10. I don't think he's going to be playing all of them. I think if he had some callers, then he's probably coming along. But I do think probably pocket pair he's calling, probably to set mine. I think he's going to be raising 3-betting these hands, kings plus ace king, at a minimum. Maybe he's doing it with queens and jacks. Maybe he has all the suited aces. If I do all of the suited aces, king jack and suited connectors down to 6-5, that gets us to almost 13%. I feel like that's still a little wide. Maybe not all suited aces. Maybe he would play something like this. And maybe be a little bit tighter there. Maybe he doesn't have the 2s, 3s, and 4s, but we know he's called with 4s before, so I'm going to leave that in there. Big question is like these suited aces. Is he going to have all the suited aces or not? I'm going to take out ace jack and say we're going to play with ace queen, we're going to play king queen, and we're going to go with this range here. Don't know if that's correct or not, but that's what we're going to do. So we see a flop of ace 9 7. So based on ranges, we're still ahead. If we're still ahead, that means we should probably c-bet here. We are in position. This guy checks. If we bet, what kind of hands is going to call? I think top pair hand will call. I think most everything else is going to fold. Maybe these middle pairs are going to be folding. So pocket pair less than the top card, middle pair. Maybe they fold, maybe they call once. We don't really have flush draws. We don't. We could have gut shots, but I don't think he really has straight, like at 8-10. I don't think he would have called with that. And there's always a chance that he does have that, but I just don't think that that's in his range. So he's folding, you could see, almost 70% of the time if I bet. And that, I think, means that we're going to be betting a whole lot of times. We're going to be betting basically our entire range to take advantage of that. When we look at his fold to c-bet, we don't have anything here on these stats, but at the time we may have seen some more information. So villain checks, which keeps his entire range in, and then I check too. So I don't really like this check. I think if we're out of position, we can make the claim of checking, check calling. Might get a 9x, a 9-10, or a 9-8 to fire into the pot, and we can call. But I think we just attack. And I know some of this is, well, let's try to maximize our win. If we bet, he's just going to fold nines, but if we check, maybe we'll get a call on the turn. That's a possibility, but would he really do that? Are we risking a whole lot? I think our play is probably just to go ahead and bet with our queens. I think there's other hands to check. So based on our betting and our checking ranges, I think we're betting top pair, probably all of our top pair. I think with his likelihood of folding, we just attack, and I think it's going to be just like an auto profit for us. So I kind of feel like we should be betting everything, and that means then our top pair plus is going to be for value. These no made hands, let's get those out. These no made hands, pocket pair below the board, these are going to be bluffs. The bottom pairs would be bluffs. Bottom pair less than the second card. Our middle pairs in case are kind of bluffy. I can't really say kings, queens, jacks, and tens are going to be bluffs because I don't think we're going to get aces to fold. With tens and nines, yeah, we're not getting aces to fold, but we're trying to get the Broadway to fold. So a king, queen, queen, jack to fold, which gives us their equity. So I think we attack by a bet. But again, we could always check. We could always check behind and go for some extra value. So if we were to check, I think the hands that we would check would be our sets, our top pair, probably not ace five, but maybe ace king, ace queen, and then we would check our two pair too. We would check our so those top pair hands. I think we could check our pocket pair less than the top card. Probably not tens, probably not jacks. And maybe our middle pair. Nah, I think I would still bet those. I think since I checked, those are kind of the hands that we're going for. I think we've got too much for a straight. If we had 10-8, we should go for it. But again, I don't think we do. So that's going to be my checking range. Turns to three spades. If he checks at this point, I don't think we're getting paid, but we do have to bet here. So he checks again. I think at this point, it's becoming less likely that he has a set or two pair. I think he would probably lead to try to build a pot. I'm still leaving it in, but I think overall, maybe let's say 60% maybe has, we'll say that 60% for the sets. We'll do 60% for the two pair. I think top pair is even less. We're going to say like 25% for top pair. We're going to say 25% for these big ones, ace queen, ace jack, ace 10. I think the other ones could probably still be in his range as a checking range. And then he has all the rest of these. So we already checked. We gave up the check now. I think it's less likely that he's going to have a hand, but we checked to do a delayed c-bet, and I think we continue with that check, or with that delayed c-bet now. We make it now. Our hand's going to be a little bit stronger because we don't really have any bluffs here. Yeah, I don't know why I checked here. I just don't. I don't like it. I don't like how it was played. I feel like we need to bet. We need to try to start getting some value from our hands. So it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to check with our sets or two pair. I think we get and even with top pair. So maybe we just have pocket pair less than the top card. So at this point, I'm just thinking kings, queens, maybe jacks and tens if I also checked with those. So I think my hand's becoming a little bit more face up, which is a little bit difficult. So if he checks and I bet, he could easily come up over the top at that point. Yeah, could I have a jack 10? Yeah, maybe you catch that gut shot, but it's starting to look like I've got kings, queens, jacks. Villain checks. Oops. So we're going to take that out. We're going to say that's his 8 of diamonds. At this point, I think he's betting the straight no matter what, but I think he has everything else. If I bet, what's he going to call? Top pair plus probably ace. Maybe he calls queens, jacks, tens. That's about it. So he's calling 31%. He's folding a lot. I don't have any bluffs in my hands. So I think how I played it, it's just, I think we missed it. We go for a little bit of thin value and he calls. But again, what kind of thin value? We're hoping like a 9, maybe an 8 calls. And I don't know. I think we would have done better by betting this hand, or betting our queens earlier in the hand. So he shows tens, which I think is in his range. Yep, pocket pair less than the top card. So we can take a note here, and then we're gonna look at some GTO. So pre-flop, he call 3-bet or 3 big lines. RFI called, actually UTG 3 big blind, RFI in big blind with 10 of hearts, 10 of clubs, and then check, call 50% on an ace of spades, 9 of diamonds, 7 hearts, 3 spades, 8 of diamonds. All right. So what I want to do is I want to take a look at this. I don't like how I played at all. I think we should be betting. I think there is a chance that we check the flop. I think we're going to be mixing in queens with some checks. I think probably more likely to bet like the jacks and tens. But let's go back. We're going to need the flop. We're going to open up GTO and get it running. All right, so I opened up GTO Plus, got everything set up, ran it, and our option here is, or here's the results. So Villain should be checking pre-flop, no big surprise. We expect that, and then it's on to us. We're betting almost 60%, checking almost 40%, so that kind of makes sense. I think this is a little surprising as to how much we're betting in it versus checking. I guess we have to consider our own range versus Villains, that we do have quite a few cards that are going to miss, including all of our Broadway hands. Yeah, we'll get some gut shots with there. We're betting those, but I'm going to say somewhat surprisingly is that we are checking those middle pairs here. So we do have some jacks or aces that we're checking. I would have expected I would have expected to be betting like ace-5 as a bluff and kind of keep some of these in our checking range, so we're going for value. So I guess our check looks to be okay here. Kind of maybe to execute a delayed c-bet. So it's not bad. So we did check, which fits it. So then we've got 3 of spades. Now puts up a spade flush, and Villain should be betting. Now that it goes check, Villain should be betting. I know if that this happened, I probably am, and I'm probably betting quite a bit. So based on my hands, I'm probably betting more, but I'm betting 3 of a kind, 2 pair. See, this is interesting because I probably would have been checking some of these to try to get him to bet again. But I think that we need to bet with those hands to balance all of these no-made hands that we're betting now. So like we do have some flush draws where we're betting those, those are like bottom pair with the flush draws. We're betting some of our no-made hands, so like 5-6 gut shot. Now it's a double gut shot we're betting. Betting those, we're just attacking the weakness. He didn't do that, so now once we checked, looks like we're checking again based on GTO. So I don't know why. Maybe it's because we're guarding against some of these hands, or because we're ahead. We figure to be ahead. 8 of diamonds. 8 of diamonds comes out. Now Villain checks again, and we bet a little bit. we're betting straight sets, 2-pair, top pair. So we do have some junk weak pair that we're bluffing, but we just check with queens. I think that's a little interesting. And that's not what I was expecting. I was expecting GTO to say we probably need to be betting most of the time on the flop here, but it's not. And I guess the reason is that Villain has a lot of aces in his hand. He has a lot of these suited aces. So maybe my idea that, okay, he's got suited aces or pocket pairs, and there's going to be way more pocket pairs, so we're probably still ahead at this point. Why build up a pot? Why bet, get check raised, and have to fold when we could just check and see what develops? So if we check and Villain bets here, what do we call? Well, I do think we would have called. Then if he bets again, I think I have to really consider whether or not to call or fold. And this is interesting. He has GTO has us calling queens, but has us folding kings. I guess because if we have kings, it's not expecting queens to bet here. So we're probably behind. I think if he checks, we check behind with our pocket pair because it's too likely we're ahead. So yeah, I think there's some definite play. I would have bet, and that's probably all I would have picked up. So I did get some extra equity, but I think that's no different than just checking down like GTO Plus says. So maybe I knew something more. Maybe his fold to c-bet wasn't that high, and that's why I didn't bet. Or maybe it really is high, and I'm looking at, okay, if he calls, I'm beat. So why bet? That means I don't really have a bet for value at that point. So this is rather interesting. Rather interesting. All right, hopefully you enjoy the sand. This is not one that I predicted. I mean, we had his sand, pocket pair. I think aces versus, or I'm sorry, suited aces, so top pair or pocket pair, and he had the pocket pair at this point. So was that on his notes? Yeah, he has it. Hold on. Yeah, 4s, 8s, 10s. Yep, he had these. So hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another.